Hello, Gerard. Thank you for being with us today. And first of all, congratulations on your amazing achievement. I say it's amazing because where you graduated from and how you spent so much time understanding Pakistan public and mental health challenges, and your background was something that really got my attention. I'm really glad that you are here today with me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I think let's cut to the chase, and if you can, I can give you the floor. If you can talk about how your program is going and what made you decide to apply for the scholarship in the first place.
Yeah. So the program is going really well. I mean, it is not easy, like we were discussing. It's a 1-year program, but it is not like the 1-year programs you see mostly in UK and other countries, because this was supposed to be a 2-year program, which they kind of made in this compact timeline of 1 year. So it's a little challenging, but it's very practical, and it's really good. But the reason for me behind choosing this program, especially international health, global health, public health, it's not I would say it's not very common to pursue in the disciplines where I come from. For example, I was trained as a psychologist, and people usually don't think about public health. It's not that on the top of their head in Pakistan. But for me, the thing was that my whole professional experience is in public health. That's why I was already exposed to it a little. I graduated in 2020, just as the COVID was starting to hit. So I graduated in February, and in March everything was on lockdown. So yeah, it was not the best time to graduate. And then um, there, yeah, there were no jobs. People were not hiring, and for me, I was not that much interested in practicing as a psychologist, although I studied it. I was somewhat interested in research, but I was not sure whether I should pursue my career in research in psychology or maybe some other allied health sciences, other disciplines. But it was, I would say it was a stroke of luck. But I was not deciding to go to global health and adapt this profession. I just saw a very nice post with the University of York where I could work as a research assistant, get some experience. Because at that point, it was if the idea was just to get experience, to groom myself as a professional, because I was already interested in research. And although the field was a little different, a little out of my expertise, but I thought it was a really good idea. And only after I started working with those people and within this field of global health and public health, I started to see that, I mean, it's not very common, but the implications are really good, especially for the context of Pakistan and low-income countries. Because I was working with a research group who only focused on South Asia. So we focused on India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and it really gave me a good idea of what are the public health challenges in these countries. And later on, if you want to aim for a scholarship that focuses on LMICs like this DAAD scholarship, then it's an asset to have this kind of um, exposure to the challenges in these countries. And about the scholarship, yeah, why did I choose DAAD and why Germany? Actually, I was not aiming to uh, come to Germany. I mean, I was applying everywhere because my, I was I had decided when I graduated from Islamic International that I was not going to do my masters in Pakistan. So it didn't matter if I would go to US or UK, Germany, or any other European country, but I wanted to do uh, from. I mean, I wanted to score a scholarship, whatever it was. So I was applying to a lot of scholarship. I applied to 3 or 4 scholarships in 2022. I applied to 3 or 4 scholarships in 2021. I've been I had been learning about scholarships from different platforms for the last 4 or 5 years. I think from my second year I think my second year in graduate studies. So it was a long process. I mean, there's a lot of information that you can get. There are a lot of mentors that you can approach, but it depends on you how much driven you are for this. So yes, I applied for not just DAAD, but I applied for Chevening, I applied for Erasmus. Yes, I applied for government scholarships in Finland, in France, in Ireland, and yes, so a lot.
Yes.
And I got a lot of rejections. I mean, the more you apply, the more rejections you are going to get.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, the more
Yes.
you diversify your application, not knowing where you will get shortlisted, and ultimately, if you land an interview, then things start looking up from there. But I was reading one of your LinkedIn posts that you were actually awarded the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship in Public Health as well. So how did you decide
Yes.
to go with the DAAD and Germany and not the Erasmus?
I mean, it was the hardest decision of my life because, I mean, one of the things that really helped me in making the decision was because I was placed on the reserve list for Erasmus,
Okay,
and I didn't know if I would get it or not. So I already accepted the offer with DAAD. And by the time I received my final offer from Erasmus, I already had my visa for Germany
okay,
and all the arrangements. I had already did everything. So, I mean, in theory, I could ditch this offer and go for Erasmus, but it was not just about, I mean, the degrees are really different. So for example, I'll tell you for Erasmus, the degree that I applied to, it was focused on Europe. So it's called European Masters in Public Health. They focus on public health challenges in Europe and approaches that they use here and everything. But this program that I'm doing here in Germany, it's focused solely on LMICs. So although we study the public health approaches that are used in high income countries, especially here in Germany, but the focus is how do we translate those approaches? How do we apply them in low income countries? So that's something that I was really interested in, and it helped me in making this decision. And yes, one more thing about Erasmus is that they market themselves with this mobility thing because in any Erasmus program is really good because you can go to different countries, you can stay and study in different countries, but when it comes to logistics, it's not that easy.
it's
So
not.
because yeah, I had discussions with a lot of alumni from both DAAD and Erasmus, and this was one of the challenges that they said I could face. So especially when they found out that this program here in Germany is only 1 year, they said that I mean it makes sense to prefer it over that. And again, like I said, it's not just one thing. It was the focus on LMICs. Uh, the degree was 1 year, so it's you graduate 1 year earlier than Erasmus, and also the arrangements were already complete for me. So I kind of decided that I should go with it instead of changing everything now and then
Yeah,
accepting the offer from Erasmus. But it was tempting, I would say. It was very
it
tempting.
was tempting. Yeah, that mobility experience is tempting, but you are absolutely right. Not because I'm talking to you or you are chatting with me, but deciding the pros and cons. Your rationale for your master's was already there when you were writing your letter of motivation or statement of purpose. That if your program is highly relevant to your future goals, go with the program and not all the tempting factors because it will impact how
Yes,
you go on from here after you graduate.
exactly.
Having that excellent context, the German program could have focused on German public health, but it did not. It had the LMIT focus. That is super relevant for you. So thank you for that. I'm really glad you found your program very relevant. Can I ask you just a bit, just for fun, when you are applying, sometimes people can tell that when you are applying for a scholarship, Did you feel that you will get something because your background was very relevant to the program? Did you have any insights or any instinct like that?
Yes, I was very confident for some scholarships, and for
Yeah,
others, I was not confident at all. So it depends on the scholarship that you're applying to, what is the theme that they focus on. For example, I would say Chevening, they focus a lot on leadership
yeah,
and especially professional experience in leadership roles. And I was not confident about that at all because I don't think I had any experience when it came to leadership. I had good research experience. I had good technical experience. I had experience with LMICs, but not leadership experience. So yes, I was not confident for Chevening, but for DAAD, I was really confident because, like I said, the program was very relevant to my professional experience and also my future goals. For Erasmus, I was also confident. And also, I was confident for some other scholarships that I didn't land
yeah,
eventually.
yeah,
So
thank
it
you.
depends on the, yeah, it depends
Yeah,
on the scholarship program. You can be very confident for some programs and not confident for the others.
yeah. And I think it might be helpful for anyone listening if you do feel like at that time you did not feel that confident enough about your leadership ability. I would say that leadership is still very a big word. We are all leading in some way. Just for
Mhm.
a value add, we are all leading in some way. And what else can I go back to? Who do you think should be applying for that? Because they do require some kind of professional experience after your graduation. How will you
E-
articulate that for the applicant who should be applying? What is an ideal candidate looking like? If there's any,
Okay, so the minimum criteria for applying to DAAD programs, especially for these masters, is they should have 2 years of professional experience. So this is the bare minimum. It's not about adding something to the profile. It's what you need to have.
okay,
So
okay,
yeah, obviously, if you have more experience, it will be good. But from what I have observed and from what I have seen with the people who are studying with me here and with the people who I studied with in the language course, it's mostly the quality of professional experience that they look at instead of how long did you work for. For example, most of the people that I met here, DART scholars, they didn't have more than 3 or 4 years of experience. Very rarely there were people who had more than 5 years of experience. So the experience was not that long, but they were working in really good roles in good organizations. Many people here are coming from international NGOs. Some people are working in their own countries, but maybe not international NGOs, but they are very they're working in roles that are that increase their exposure to contextual challenges in LMICs. So personally, I think that they don't look on the length of your experience as much as they do look at the quality of the experience and how your experience relates to the program that you're applying to, but also how it relates to the general aims of the DAS scholarship.
okay, okay. Yeah, I agree. The quality matters. Doesn't matter if you have been working for 4 or 5 years, but if your experience is not deeply related to the field you are in. Right. That's interesting to know. Okay. Did you have any thoughts about how do I begin my application? Where do I start from? How did you know how to start your application?
A lot of reading. It takes a lot of reading. You have to read their websites, read their resources. So, for example, DART, they have a, I think, 70-page document in which they explain not just the application procedures and everything, but also the content for each of their program. So it's really comprehensive. You can look into it for a lot of details, but also there are a lot of helpful platforms on,
Yeah.
let's say, LinkedIn, Facebook, where people post a lot of resources. You can read posts from previous alumni. You can reach out to them if you have any questions. That's what I did when I was applying. You can listen to webinars like these. They're really helpful
Yeah,
because
that's what I'm
I
hoping
mean,
that, yeah.
I couldn't stress this enough. They are really helpful, especially if you are. It doesn't matter if they're 2 years old, because it's about the process. And if there's someone who's explaining how to go about the application process and everything, it's really helpful. So I would say uh, start by getting as much information as you can. It takes some time, so it's not like you can have know everything in 1 week. It takes some time, but once you know what are the requirements, and more importantly, what are the things that they look for in an ideal candidate, which is different for every scholarship, you can start working on your application then. So for application, there's a lot of documents that you have to prepare. For me, I think I started with the references because this is the thing that people struggle the most because of the people who are supposed to provide references. Not everybody has or is in contact with their previous academic professors, and if you reach out to them after, let's say, 2 years of not being in contact with them, it's a little difficult. So I would say that if you know that you're going to apply in, let's say, 2 months, just reach out to the professors, especially your academic professors, because professional references are not that difficult if you're already working in a company. But academic references can be difficult if you're not in contact with some of your professors. So start from there. Start from your letter of motivation, which is everybody knows it's the most important document in the whole process. And it takes a lot of time to kind of refine, get it reviewed from other alumni if it's possible, reach out to other alumni in advance before you write, so that you can get some ideas about what should be the themes that you should focus on. Because like I said, every letter should be different for every scholarship. And for example, for my case, I applied for the development related master's programs within the DAAD, because DAAD have a lot of schemes. And this is one of those many schemes. And this scheme focuses on development in low and middle income countries. So that's what you should focus on in your letter of motivation. That's how you create relevance. So yes, references, letter of motivation. For some courses, you might require a research proposal. For my course, I didn't require any proposal, but I submitted anyways because I prepared it for another scholarship. So I think these are the things that take time, and you need your CV, and your documents should be attested and everything else. So that's not that difficult. It doesn't take that much time, but yes.
So going back to the letter of motivation, I wish we could somehow write that in bold that these things take time. You need to give yourself time to work through the process. I don't know how to further emphasize, but I think you did a good job here. Creating a relevant. Can you expand a bit more on that? If you could just give one example, how did you create that relevant? Did you tap into your academic experience along with your research? What if someone don't have that kind of experience, but they can still build a story with relevance?
Yes, exactly. Like you said, it's about the story. So even if you have some, like say, let's say you have a qualification which is not consistent with your professional experience, but you can develop a good story of how you moved from that qualification to the experience. How did you develop your interest, and how was this transition, and why was this transition? Why did you move from that to that? If you develop this story in a good way and then relate it to the aims and objectives of your program and the scholarship, you have a good chance. Because the letter of motivation, it's imagine it as a circle that explains your qualifications, your professional experience in the case of DAAD scholarship, because it's mandatory. The aims and objectives of your program, the aims and objectives of the scholarship itself, and your own future goals. There should be some things common among all of these factors. And if you can develop a story in which you kind of demonstrate in writing that how did you transition from this to this, and how are you going to, or how do you plan to transition from where you are now to what you plan to be in the future, then you have a good chance.
Yes, yes.
Because it should be coherent. Everything should be coherent. It's even if you don't have consistent experiences or coherent experiences, you have to somehow try your best to make them coherent to have the highest chances.
Yeah. I advise my applicant. I'm a trainer, I'm an educator. If you're not able to build a story why you're interested in this program or where you plan to go afterwards, I encourage them to do some reading, look up papers, find out what is going on in your country, what is the most highest difficult challenge our government is facing for this particular theme. You could start with that. But one of the struggles is highlighting your future goals when you're not clear what you can do after your graduation. That is kind of fuzzy, but I do encourage that people propose that this is a proposal in your letter of motivation that having this international qualification, I will be now able to do higher level tasks. Not like join your previous organization or be in a junior position, aim higher. Can you probably advise or maybe give a tip how to tackle your future goals if you have any idea on that?
Yes. So one of the things that you can do in this case when you're not sure about where you are going to be in, let's say, 5 years, or what are the roles that you are going to target, one of the things that you can do is list out the possibilities. So let's say right now I have this level of experience and this level of technical expertise and this level of exposure and whatever. But once I get this scholarship and once I complete my program and I network with a lot of people and I gain a lot of technical expertise, I gain a lot of exposure and contextual expertise, what are the possibilities that this will open for me? So I might or might not uh, join one of these possibilities, but these are the things that will be open for me. So for example, in my case, I would be in a position to do a PhD that is very relevant to the challenges here in Pakistan. I would be able to join an NGO, an international NGO working in one of the LMICs. I'm in a good position to join academia, let's say, because the program focuses on a lot on research and how these possibilities again relate to development. So if I say that yes, I will be able to um, become a lecturer in a university, but it doesn't add anything to the development of that community, that it's not a good idea to list it. So you can list a lot of possibilities that you will be able to access as a result of this scholarship, but these possibilities should be related to, again, the aims and objectives of the scholarship. So
Yeah.
you're not kind of specifying that I will do this or that. You're just listing out the possibilities that I will be able to do this or that or that. But it makes a good impression because they see how it's very clear that once you have these expertise, you will be in a good position to make a lot of changes in your society. And you might join one of the alternatives. You cannot do everything, but they see the possibilities, and that's what's important. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We are on mute. I mean, COVID, whatever, but we are still on mute these days. Anyway,
Mhm.
so, writing out the possibility, knowing that you will be able to do all of these things which you say you will, because you have the network of your program, your professor, your research group. I mean, if you are in an international master, you will be reading and researching a lot, then making those connections. In your case, will health industry professional with international NGO. You're just writing out those possibilities. But at the end of the day, you do have to divide your short-term and medium-term goals and then your long-term goals. I think one of the mistakes that, and this was a frequently asked question, can we work directly with higher level ministries or anything after coming back, or we now have a DAAD scholarship under our belt? So does it give us this advantage of working directly with the government ministry if we have never worked before? How do you think people should tackle this part? Because for me, if you have never worked with higher level ministries or government, and then you're suddenly proposing that I will work with the government. For me, that's a bit of a misalignment. That how do I believe you that you might be able to do it?
Okay, so one of the points that is helpful in this case is because they know that you are already professional, you have been working in a good setting already. So you might be able to land good opportunities after your program. But now what you have been working on previously should align with what you are proposing to work on in the future. So for example, I say that I have been working in research for the last 3 years, and after my program, I'll be able to again work in research, but in a good role. So maybe I'll do a PhD, maybe I'll join academia, a good research group that focuses on LMICs or whatever. If I've been working already in ministries in like small roles, I can propose that I'll be able to again work with a ministry in a bigger role. Or if you're working with NGOs in a small role, you can propose that you might be able to take a leadership role in an
Yeah.
international NGO, and this makes sense. But again, if you say that I was doing this, but now I might change my uh, field or my setting, and then I now plan to do this, then it's okay. I mean, it's not bad to propose that, but then you have to justify it, and your justification is to be really good.
Yeah, justifying that is important. All right. Okay, I want to talk more about if you know anyone who's getting ready to apply for that scholarship, what would you advise for them? Like we have talked about going with the basic preparation, informing your recommenders, letting them know their support will be helpful for your application. But other than that, do you have anything to add for any of the applicants that if you have this years of work experience, how do you decide to go with what theme? The theme can overlap as well within a scholarship. So do you think they should decide the theme first? Because I have seen applicants with diverse experience. If they are in public health, they are also in academia, they might go with higher education, curriculum and planning, or they could be working as a consultant for an NGO or international NGO. But can they go with both of these experiences in their application, or do they need to go with one? Is there anything like that?
So if you have a very diverse experience, but you still have more experience in one of the settings than other, then I would say that target the scholarships that align with your setting or your experience. If you have really diverse experience and it's hard to choose, then obviously you cannot change your experience because that's in the past. It is what it is. You cannot change that. But what you can change is how you present it in the letter of motivation. So in case of such profiles where you have a lot of experience and in different settings, I would say that if you're applying for DAAD, you should focus on the experience that relates to their aims, and you should really focus on it in the letter of motivation, because that's the only document that you can change at this point. You cannot change your previous experience. You cannot change your CV. Maybe you can change the order of your experience. So you list the relevant experience in bold letters, so it makes more impact. but it is what it is now. You cannot change that, but what you can change is the letter of motivation and how you present yourself in there, how you relate your experience. You can also justify that I have diverse experience because I was trying to see different settings. I was trying to explore. I was trying to see what works best for me and what is the need in my country. And after all this exploration, I found that this is what I want to carry on in my career. So this can be one of the justifications that yes, you did explore a lot of possibilities, but at the end, this is what you decided, and now you want to pursue this in the future. And now, why did you decide that? How did you come up with this as the thing that you want to pursue in the future? You have to justify again. So you can go back to your context. You can go back to the context of Pakistan, that this is, I think, is the need at this point, or in the short term, or in the long term. Or for me personally, I mean, some people don't think that it's a good idea to spell out your personal goals, because it's not always about what's the need in your country. It's also about what you're passionate about. So let's say if there's a need about something and you're not passionate about doing it, you're not going to do it at the end. So say that I'm passionate about this, and this is something that's close to me and also a need in my country. So it makes more sense that way.
Right. And just on that note, did you add any, or would you recommend anyone adding a personal anecdote in the letter of motivation just to get that feeling that I'm highly motivated and passionate, but I have observed these things happening in my community and I'm working on things. So maybe you can add a personal anecdote or something, is just something that I recommend as well.
Yes, definitely you can add it, but don't make it a lot.
Yeah.
So you can add a
Yeah.
couple of instances where you observed something. You can definitely add your observations. If they're critical, they're really good. I mean, just if you just spell out something that everybody knows, then it doesn't impact as much. But if your observation is critical, then it's a really good point. Even if it's personal experience, if it's critical, they see that you're thinking about something and in a really detailed way. So it's a really good thing to add.
Yeah, yeah. I remember when I was writing my first grad application just for backdrop, one thing used to bother me often if I was writing a public health letter of motivation. I'm an educator, but I'm taking the public health lens. Like we have doctors and dentists applying to your kind of program as well. MBBS, BDS, or psychologists like you were. And we have also people like allied health science. And by the way, I had an allied health science undergrad and I could have been eligible for that, but I did not know that this was a scholarship as well. So I went for that.
Mhm.
I remember when I was using my lens of what was bothering me a lot in my own context, that becomes your voice for what you want to do in the future. That you are looking at the gap. You have found a gap there. And it's a personal gap, not a personal goal, but a personal gap there. So I think having that lens of clarity. Did you have any interview for this program too?
No, I didn't have an interview. Yeah, yes, there was one interview, but it was more of a verification interview than
Okay.
technical or academic. So they had already pre-selected me at that point, and they just wanted to make sure that I'm interested and some personal details. It was more about my personal details than the academics.
Okay, okay. And the other didn't have an interview with you?
No,
Okay. This was straight from application to getting an award or not award. I'm sure you must have been feeling lots of anxiety with that.
yes, I mean, it's a lot of wait. You
Yeah.
have to wait a lot for almost more than half a year.
Oh, what year?
Sometimes
Yeah.
for that it's not actually that long. So I applied in October and I received confirmation of my pre-selection in January.
Okay,
So
okay, that's
yeah,
good.
it was not.
So I'm just checking.
Yes.
We have people here. Yes, we have a couple of them here. So anyone who is listening, we are now opening the floor for question and answer. You do add your question in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and let Zauraiz know if you have a question or two. We will wait for people to come and chime in. But Zauraiz, thank you so much for sharing all this and for being very honest about feeling confident, because this is a normal process. You feel confident with something and then you don't, then you feel confident.
Yes.
What advice would you give to, like, any final words or advice for anyone applying in this cycle?
Okay, so if I had to give one advice, I would say just be realistic. Because I mean, getting a scholarship is not very difficult, but it's also not very easy. And you have to be really smart. So being realistic means uh, going for opportunities that you know that you have the best chances in. So you have a lot of possibilities, a lot of scholarships to apply to. Just put your maximum efforts on those that you think have the best possibility of you getting them. And also, I mean, work on your profile. I cannot stress this enough. Many people, they want to achieve a lot, but then you look at their profile and you think that, I mean, yes, it's in Pakistan, one of the worst things is you don't have a lot of possibilities, but you still have some possibilities and you can make the best out of them. And work on your language. Language is really important. It's not about speaking or understanding, it's about expressing your ideas, especially in writing. So people don't focus this enough. For letter of motivations, you have to express yourself in the best possible way you can, because they are getting applications from all over the world. And even if you have the best profile and you cannot express it, you cannot express yourself, it's difficult.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of things that you can work on.
yeah. I remember that you just reminded me. I think you're reading my brain, reading my mind, and it's traumatizing me right now. No, I'm kidding. I'm not traumatized. So my background is my undergrad was in Alal Health Sciences from University of Health Sciences. My whole career was a mess when I had to start my undergrad. I remember during my bachelor, I was actively trying to find some possibility to improve my profile or anything that will make me look competitive if when I start applying for international program. But I knew I had to differentiate. But the 2 year program was it was medical lab technology. It was good. That was my goal. I wanted to be a doctor. I didn't become one. It's okay. I wanted to do MBBS. I didn't get the marks. I had very good marks. My life was like this. When I finally enrolled for a psychology program at Punjab University, the program was a mess. I got out, reviewed my application, and I waited again for some application to open. Then I finally enrolled in physiotherapy and I got ranked out by 1 point, and I got into medical lab technology. Where I am today, I can proudly say that I've been a failure and I've experienced so many failures, but that got me thinking. I was always on the lookout for anything that will make my CV, because my CV was blank, there was nothing there. So I remember I used to do lots of community work. At that time, the 2005 earthquake came, and I was already working at Children's Hospital. So I just thought of a community project that let just help as a volunteer. And I mobilized my class fellows that we need to become very good at volunteering. And volunteering is not just making gift bags and giving to the victim. They don't need these kind of gifts. They are effective mentally. So what I did was we gathered together and we tried to mobilize community mental health specialist who could come to the hospital and give them some time for the children and the victims. But at that time, mental health was not even a headline. It's now we understand. I thought we call them psychology. But this was a very small effort, and if I have to write this in my letter of motivation, it might look like it's inflated, it's exaggerated, but I usually write was how I felt and thought this is a critical challenge that whenever a natural disaster hits Pakistan, we are not prepared to handle the mental health crisis for that. So at that time, it started small, but when I was getting ready to apply for Fulbright, I thought about all the relevant times in my life where particular challenge in the relevant field I'm targeting for my master's, it came up. And I used to add all those there. So I think for you it was a very classic case of relevance and finding the right word. That you said, expression is so important. But many people do struggle
Yes.
with English language. What can they do about that?
I mean, if there's one thing that has a lot of resources, it's the English language. Everything that we have in Pakistan is in English. I was surprised when I came here. My the people that I study with, they're from different countries, and even their cell phones, they are in their local languages. But for us, I mean, thanks to colonial rules that we have been going through for a lot of time, it's much easier for us. So we don't have any excuse. There's a lot of resources they use. They can read a lot, write. I mean, reading and writing, that's the only way. Read as much as you can and write as much as you can. And you will be able to understand how other people express their ideas, and then you can translate it into how you can express your own ideas. Because it's about expression, whether it's about speaking or writing. But for the case of scholarships, it's mostly about writing the motivation letter, and because they focus on demonstrated evidence of your experience and everything, and you have to give examples, and in order to give examples you have to express them in a way that makes sense to the people who are going to analyze it, and for it to seem relevant. And like you said, this is the example that you quoted just now. It's a classic example of how expression and how language can help you express what you already have. And if you don't have the language to express,
Yeah.
it's as good as nothing. So
Yeah. And I think it's okay to think in your native language, Urdu language, write a graph in Urdu if you have to, then begin the writing in English because some language is always a good advantage. If you can't express in English, it's okay. I mean, the best of the best writers, they don't have the graph knowledge in the first attempt. It takes time improving, editing, and making that note on this. And as you said, getting someone to review, they might be able to give you better feedback on that. Sometimes it
mhm.
also happens that did you feel at any time, this is a personal question, if you feel like asking, that you felt that, okay, the application is too challenging for me, I think I should just, avoid it or anything, but you came back to it.
There are some instances, not for DAAD scholarship, but for others, some of the other scholarships, because like I said, I was applying to a lot of scholarships, and in the in a period of like 3 months. So it was very hectic. And I had to refine my letter of motivation for every scholarship. So at some point, it becomes very tiring. So there
Yeah.
were some scholarships, like, for example, I was planning to apply for Commonwealth, but I ended up not applying at all because it was too difficult at that point to keep up with all the deadlines. So if you're only focusing on one or two scholarships, it's not that difficult if you start on time.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. You have to start on time. You have to, especially the documents that we say take some time, so like references and letter of motivation. You have to start at least 2 months before the deadline, and you will be okay to go.
Yeah. I really advise that have a timeline in your database or your notes or journal, whatever you do, that you should know when this DAAD scholarship open, what are the programs within those. Did you apply to multiple programs within the DAAD as well?
No, just one.
Okay, just one. Okay, that was like, okay,
Yes.
leaving it to chance. Well, thank you everyone for being here. And if you have any questions, please do ask us. No question is silly, but we hope you go through this webinar because we talk about a lot of things, and Juliet was especially very helpful in motivating someone that your quality of experience, because that requires you to have 2 years of professional experience after your graduation, like after your undergrad. But Juliet, can you add a final line on this, that can one mention the undergrad experiences or not?
I'm sorry, about what? Undergrad?
Yeah, the undergraduate experiences. Can you talk about that as well?
Like undergrad, undergraduate
Yeah,
experience, or
the project that you
okay.
have done or anything.
Yeah, I mean, but it was not very relevant for my application and that, because the project that I did was about, it was very theoretical psychology. It was not even clinical. My thesis, so it was not relevant, and that's why I didn't mention it in the motivation letter or in the CV or anywhere, because it would be something that they would see and they would say that this is not relevant, then why is this guy mentioning it? But even though my undergraduate program in general was relevant to this degree, but I had to focus more on my transition from psychology to public health, because that is what I thought was more important for this program. So
Yeah,
people in these programs in public and global health, they come from a variety of different fields, like you said, medical doctors and people from allied health
yeah.
sciences, and I have even some people who come from let's say business administration, but they have to justify how and why are they trying to make this transition. If they do good job in doing that, then it's a-okay.
Thank you. I think you have a question in the chat.
Mhm.
So one of them is asking, how should the motivation letter be structured when applying for more than one postgraduate course?
Okay, so for that scholarship, if you're applying for more than one courses, you only need one motivation letter for all of them.
Okay.
So yes, so let's say if I were to apply to 3 courses in public health, I cannot submit 3 different letters, because that's a requirement by DAAD. You have to submit the same motivation letter for every course, and everything will be same. Everything else will be the same. The start, how you start the course, your future goals, your past experience, everything will be same. But you have to prioritize what courses do you want to, what courses do you
Yeah,
prefer?
prefer.
Like if
Yeah.
you're yes, if you're applying for 3 courses, you have to prioritize them, and you have to justify in order, why do you prefer this one over that one, and that one over the last one, and everything else is the same. But you have to only submit one letter, and this should be the same for every course. Otherwise, if you submit a different letter, you are automatically disqualified from that course.
Yeah. I think the portal is like that. You have the DAAD application form, and then you submit that application form to the university. Can you walk through the
Yes,
application process in just 2 minutes?
yes. So the application process for me was like, I had to only apply to the university. But with my normal application, like all the normal documents, I had to submit 2 additional documents.
Mhm.
One was the DAAD application form, and the other was the DAAD documents checklist. So that's the only additional documents that you need to submit. So it's not that difficult. You don't have to apply separately for the scholarship. You only apply to the university, but you send 2 additional documents, and that's how they know that you are applying for the scholarship. Now, if you get selected for the scholarship, they will forward your application to the DAAD Commission. Otherwise, they will maybe offer you an admission without scholarship, or this can also be a possibility. But you cannot apply directly to DAAD. You have to apply to the university, and the university shortlists candidates to apply.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, we have one more question. I think we will be able to wrap on time and let Zauraiz go. We can hold him forever. But how many professional experience is required in this scholarship? I think we already talked about that, but just to cap it, that by the way, that is vary from program to program, Zauraiz, that the minimum years of experience has to be 2. I have read 1.5 years as well.
So it's different for the scholarship scheme and for the courses. For example, in my case, my course requires 2 years of experience, and the DAAD scholarship also requires 2 years of experience. But there are some instances where the course requires 1 year of experience, but the scholarship requires still 2 years of experience to you. So you have to have 2 years anyway.
Okay. And just for anyone listening in, we are talking not about all the DAAD scholarship. We are talking specifically about the development postgraduate. It's called EPOS, EPOS. I will share the link with everyone. But for this, the thematic area could be public global health, it could be agriculture, it could be, what were the other courses in the development team? Can you expand on that?
So they have agriculture, they have economics, they have some business management, but they focus on international management. They have engineering, for example, water resources and agriculture engineering. They have some courses that focus on education and like public health. So yes.
I've seen
not
that.
computer science, because a lot of people ask me that do they offer any courses on computer science or software engineering or things like that, but unfortunately not. So they're mostly they don't have many technical courses, so they're more like focused on development and like international exposure and things like that.
I think this whole scholarship is in line with UN Sustainability Development Goals, where if they change every year, they have prioritized development priorities for the specific country. That's why you need to be on the Pakistan side. You might find a program which is eligible for other nationalities, but not for Pakistan. So you are right.
Exactly.
The application when they open, but you can see last year or the previous year documents as well. It's very long, there's lots of information, and I think they have made it really well that they have given a breakdown of the different programs and university, what are the keywords. Those keyword program outline, they can be a very good content for your letter of motivation too, and for your CV.
Exactly.
And you can also let your recommenders know that you are targeting this program. It emphasizes a lot on this. And so when you are writing my recommendation, I will like you to focus on my research, which I did with you. You can just, manipulate it positively for yourself.
Yes.
Okay, so I think if you have any more questions, we can just take this up offline, possibly in the group, in Beach Scholar or on LinkedIn, wherever. And thank you, Zauraiz. I'm very thankful to you for giving us your time. And anything else you would like to add?
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. I hope you will be able to share this webinar with anyone who is applying. We can get the word out. So thank you again, and I will be in touch with you for hopefully more opportunities in the future.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.